All right, so this video is gonna be how to feed your starter. So I have all of our materials set out here. And so this is my starter and it sits in the cabinet, and the kit I sent you the link for comes with this cool little jar cover. So that's what I use. And then I use a rubber band to be able to tell when it has doubled. Also, I pulled it straight out of the cupboard. I haven't done anything with it because I wanted you to see, hopefully you can see, let's see, maybe it'll focus on it. Do you see the liquid on top? Kind of that weird colored liquid. Okay, so that is totally fine. And you are good to use it, you know, whatever. So this also came in the kit for the link that I sent you. So I'm gonna stir that liquid back in. And you see the bubbles? It's alive and well. Okay, so I'm gonna stir that liquid. There we go. All right, so now it's all mixed together, which is great. It's a little bit darker in color because I have been feeding it with whole wheat flour, but I'm running low on whole wheat flour, so today we're gonna use just all-purpose flour. And I don't like to deal with the flour bags all the time because it's a lot of feeding and whatnot. And so I actually keep my flour in a jar in the pantry, really handy. And I keep my big bag of flour in the freezer. So then I just refill my jar as needed. So, okay, so there we go. Starter's ready to go. So I like to take a clean jar because then I can see that it has doubled. And I think I told you my starter likes to be fed in a 1:3 ratio. So let's see how well I can do this one-handed. All right, so we're gonna do 20 grams of starter to 60 grams of flour and 60 grams of room temperature water. All right, so we're gonna start with our starter. I've zeroed out my food scale and I'm gonna grab just some starter. Let me hold this so you can see my scale. So we're doing 20 grams. Boop, 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 boop. Whoops. It's okay if you go over. It's not an exact science, so no worries. All right, so there's that. We can set that aside for a minute. Then flour. Sorry, shaking you around. I forgot to open the lid. Okay, so then what I do is just zero it out again. And then start putting your flour in. Oh, sorry, forgot to show you the numbers. So just keep going slowly. Flour likes to kind of come out in clumps. Bit tedious. It's probably close. 57, 59, 60. Okay. 60 grams of flour, and then we're gonna do 60 grams of water. And if you're doing whole wheat flour, if you're feeding with whole wheat flour, that's fine. It just requires a little bit of extra water. So I usually do about 8 to 10 grams more than I do with AP flour. A little over, that's okay. All right, so there we go. And then we're just gonna take our handy dandy little stir stick and we're gonna stir it up and try to get most of the clumps out. Doesn't have to be all the clumps. Can you see it? I gotta try to, whoops, sorry. Try to hold my jar while I do this and not drop the phone. All right, whew, I gotta work on my filming skills. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of scrape the bottom. Yeah.
Why from in Britain? So Wayne was throwing rocks at me and on the driveway and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him not to, and then Britain started and Wayne was still going.
Okay, I'll be out there in a minute. All right, so this is pretty well mixed, okay? And you see it's like thick pancake batter is kind of the texture. It's pretty thick. And my starter likes to be thick. I don't know, other people's may not, but mine doubles best when it's a little bit thicker. So that's that. All right, so we're gonna just set that aside. And so then what I'm gonna do is put our little hat back on, okay, like that. And then, I should have, all right, I'm gonna see if I can prop this up. I don't know if that's gonna work. Okay, that worked. So then I'm gonna take the rubber band off of this other jar and I'm gonna put it on my new jar right at the line. Can you still see that? Yeah. Okay, right at the line where my starter is. And if you need to scrape the sides down to be able to see it, then you can use your little stir stick for that. But yeah, so then just put your rubber band at your line so that you can see where you're starting from. So about right there. And then, can you see that? Yeah. Okay, so about right there. And then once your starter has doubled at least, and it'll probably do more than double, but once it has at least doubled, then it's considered active and it's ready to bake any recipe that requires active starter. If you are using a discard recipe, then you would use your unfed starter, so your discard. And what I do is I have this other jar. This jar lives in my fridge. This jar lives in my cabinet. So when I want to bake bread or anything else that requires an active starter, then I like take from the one in my counter and add it to a fresh one. I mean the one in my cabinet, add it to a fresh one, and then this becomes my cabinet jar. And this, whatever's left in this one, normally I would put into my discard jar and throw it back in the fridge. However, I'm giving this to you. So I'll put it in a clean jar for you, and this will actually be your starter now. But yeah, so I do my measurements in my fresh jar. So this is what I'll bake my bread with, and this is what'll now go into my cupboard. And then whatever's left over is considered discard. So I will pour it into this jar, which will go back in the fridge. This jar just lives in the fridge all the time. Let me take this lid off. And you can see in here, it has a lot of that liquid. You see that liquid? And it smells very like sour, but not bad sour, like a yummy sour. So you just can mix the liquid in before you bake with it. Hold on, sweetie. Just mix the liquid in before you bake with it. And so you can use this for any discard recipe and it stays good in the fridge a really long time. So I think that's everything. Let me know if you have questions. Oh, and then this, your new starter, then new jar of starter will take anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours to double, and sometimes 12 hours if your house is really cold. But usually for me, it takes like 6 to 8 hours. So, okay, there we go. End of the starter video.